God's Army trucker convoy has arrived at the border, and the mainstream media is being vicious in its lies about the group. We're going to go over some of that. We have government workers going house to house also in California, seizing people's fruit. Crazy. Disconcerting news from hospitals and more reports coming from you guys from all over. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your reports that you're sending in from all over the world, all over the United States as well, and letting us know what you guys are seeing out there, critical updates. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. If you have retirement accounts that you want to get into something safe like gold, silver, or platinum coins, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. They can walk you through all the options of what you can do and what it would look like for you and your accounts. There'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, so God's Army protest, the border trucker protest. It's going by a bunch of different names, but effectively it is supposed to be God's Army protest, has arrived at the U.S.-Mexico border yesterday. Mainstream news is painting it as full of militia and extremists, but actually, when you actually listen to the folks part of the protest, and you listen to the people complaining about the protest, you'll find that many people have been told that they are not welcome in the convoy. Some of the reasons why they've been turning people away is unity of purpose. Their only goal is to protest what's going on at the border. So people who have coming with banners and signs and trying to do all sorts of other agendas, they've been told that's not what this protest is for. This protest is for one reason: to get President Biden to move on the border, to stop making it insecure, and to move U.S. Congress and such to secure the border. Also, they've been told no weapons allowed. They have turned away all militia groups that have tried to join this as well. The mainstream media is absolutely lying about this. They're saying, oh, it's all militias and it's all these right-wing extremists and stuff like that. No, it's people that are going to pray for the border. People are going to wave flags, have speeches, pray, really dangerous things, right? And so when you actually look at the videos, which I've watched a bunch of the videos on Twitter and such like that, directly from some of the people that are with the convoy and what they're seeing there, and also seeing some of the criticisms from other, conservative groups or people who would say that they're part more on the libertarian conservative side that are criticizing the convoy and basically hearing what they have to say. And it's on the up and up, and they are very hard working to keep their convoy clean of anything that would be really incendiary or any kind of real cause any big problems. Also, the Canadian truckers up in Canada are driving as well. Apparently some are actually down in Texas, but most of them are still up in Canada, of course, and they're actually having a freedom rally that they are doing as well. Of course, we got all sorts of protests happening over in Europe, farmers and such. Hollis says, "Hi, Steve. Thank you for keeping up with all the latest news you can't find anywhere else. Really appreciate your channel. Anyway, I live in East Central Missouri, just outside St. Louis. For the past 3 weeks, we have not been able to buy beef or chicken boxed or canned broth. So beef or chicken broth, right, in boxes or cans at our local Aldi's. The shelves that usually contain the broth are completely bare. We also were shocked to find that all the milk was gone. That's skim milk all the way down to whole milk. I've never had that happen before. I guess the dairy shortage is truly here. Lowest cattle herd in the United States in 40 years. Just let that one settle in. And that includes the dairy cattle, of course. Jones says, thanks again, Steve, for your output. Here in the Smokies, many of us canceled our cable TV, period. Who wants to listen to the lies daily from the mainstream media? $100+ a month. We rely on videos like yours. I can't hardly wait for your afternoon report. We're all sick and tired of it. God bless the truckers, the bikers, and everyone else who went to the border. They're going to be on the border for a number of days. They're going to be at Eagle Pass today, and then they're going to be moving to a couple other locations on the border in the coming days. Their objective is to put a spotlight on what's going on down at the border, to pray over the border and pray over the people involved down there, and to just really draw attention to this. Justin in Columbus, Ohio. I own a small construction business and I was contacted by a lending company. I've used this company multiple times. However, this time, respectfully, I turned down their funding, citing geopolitical uncertainty and the economic uncertainty, and instead just focusing on paying down any current debts. The guy who I've never met, whose job is to get the loans out, didn't have to write me back, but took the time to say, yes, I completely understand and am worried about the same things as well. Stay safe, and if you need a loan for a bunker, just let me know. We might all need a bunker before time is due, because we're trying to rope ourselves into all sorts of wars that are being fought over things over there that we might get involved here. Why are we trying to bring war to our own shores? By sticking our nose in what all these other countries are doing in other corners of the world. That is definitely concerning. He says, stay safe, and if you, seems as if the word is definitely spreading, as even my homeowners here in Ohio are now directing conversations to recession and war. When there is general consensus, when people get the idea, everyone's sixth sense, and the community as a whole's sixth sense really is often very accurate. So when people are word of mouth discussing recession and world war, that is probably a good read on it. Much better and much more accurate than what you're going to hear from these guys on Wall Street or these guys in the mainstream media studios. What we're getting from you guys out there is the true news. Roxanne says, if you live in the city of San Bernardino, California, 2,000 homes are going to have county workers go house to house, and all fruit is going to be stripped from your trees and destroyed. The Oriental fruit fly is the cause, or so the officials say. Are you going to have any opportunity to discuss it? Are you going to have any opportunity to decline? No, they're going to come onto your property and they're going to strip your trees bare of fruit, and they're just going to confiscate it all. Tell me again how we don't live in a dictatorship, right? Barbara says, Western North Carolina yesterday. Friend went to Tractor Supply for pellets, wood pellets, for his wood stove. Was told they were out and they would not get any more this season. It was still January and it's cold up here in the mountains. No more wood pellets in January. Friends, this is, you got to realize and you got to remember, it's your responsibility to heat your home. It's your responsibility to feed your family. These stores, as soon as it becomes like slightly inconvenient for them, they're not going to provide you whatever you need. When it becomes a problem, they're not going to show up with the food. If they're going to lose money at it, they're not going to show up. And everyone is so reliant upon these big companies because they've been consistent for so long in good times. But they don't realize that at the end of the day, these companies, you're just a paycheck to them. You're just I'm not talking about necessarily the workers on the floor. I'm talking about the company as a whole. These companies do not answer to you. They answer to their shareholders. And if it's not economical for them to order any more wood pellets, they're not going to order any more wood pellets. If it's not going to be economical for them to order any beef, they're not going to order any beef. If you need certain things, you need to make sure that you are stocking up and taking responsibility to build your own supply chain. Local is better. Local and face-to-face relationships are better. Thupa says, I am in southwest Idaho. My 75-year-old mom was admitted to the hospital for a high-grade bowel obstruction. So surgery is the only option because of some complications. Now she is waiting for the hospital to scramble and find the IV medications they need to do that surgery due to a nationwide shortage. I'm praying that they can do that because she can't eat and only weighs 102 pounds to begin with. Please take care of your health. The hospital may not have what they need to help you. That's sobering, isn't it? Katie Mom says, areas of North Alabama are still under a boil water advisory. We've been told that they are unsure when it will be lifted. Still under a boil water advisory. Do you have water at your home? I was inspired by a friend of my family's. This was a long time ago. In his garage, he had like a little shelf going along the side of his garage, and he just had a line of 2-liter soda bottles just along that line. And they were all filled up with water. And just had a line of 2-liter soda bottles. And apparently he rotated them, dumped the water out on flower pots or whatever. But he always had water in his garage. That's a simple way to stockpile some fresh water. If you take water straight out of the tap, it is chlorinated, as long as you don't have a well. If you're on city water, it's chlorinated, and it has chlorine gas that's going into the water when you put it in the bottle, so that will actually keep things sterilized on the inside of that water bottle, and it should keep, generally. It may smell a little bit, off or whatever like that when you open it up, but it's going to be, it might be flat tasting, but it's still safe to drink. Selah in upstate New York says, went to Hannaford supermarket. First time in 2 months, and wow, the store looked like it had been hit by a mob before a snowstorm. But that's not what happened, right? Produce was sparse, egg section was reduced, sugar in small 4-pound bags only. Every single aisle had empty areas and fronted items. Freezers had empty areas, and some spots had 1 or 2 bags. When you don't shop for a while, you really notice the changes. And that's upstate New York. Shoppers seem like zombies. Nashville, Bridgestone, USA, which is not a publicly traded company on the U.S. exchanges, but Bridgestone laid off 5% of their workforce in January. More and more layoffs. With no announcement that it was coming, just called people into the HR office and walked them out. MN says, my employer just laid off 10% of its workforce yesterday here in Minneapolis. They're an electronics manufacturer and have many orders, but we were extremely slow last year due to supply chain issues preventing us from building the electronics. So they have the orders, but they can't actually make the items. And we're seeing a lot of companies and factories in that position, right? Where they have the orders, people want to buy from them, but they can't manufacture the stuff. That's why stores don't have a lot of these food items, is because the factories making the food can't crank it out fast enough. People will buy it, the stores want to stock it, but they can't produce enough of it because they're having all sorts of supply chain issues out there. So they're laying off 10% of their workforce here in Minneapolis. Our employer assured us that there would be no layoffs, and let people go out of the blue yesterday. Moral of the story is to keep your head on a swivel, and I'll add to that, not trust companies who are not incentivized to tell you beforehand of something that's going on. That if they're going to downsize, they're not going to let you know. They're not going to telegraph it. These layoffs are happening suddenly and without warning, and you don't know. You never know if it's going to be you and your job on the line. Leslie says, received a letter from Wi-Fi provider that the current federal program called Affordable Connectivity Program is running out of money and will likely end in 2024. The hits just keep coming. Thanks for all you do. So that helps people, I believe, in rural areas to have internet and such. Now, importantly enough, this is the same time the federal government is able to find tons and tons of money to give to foreign people coming into the country illegally. They're getting tons of free handouts. They're getting tons of free stuff. They're getting cash in some places. You know, New York City just decided to come up with $48 million. They're broke. The city's broke, and they're telling everyone they're broke, but they managed to come up with $48 million to hand out to illegal immigrants that have shown up in the city, to give them basically cash credit cards. Give them cash credit cards. Anyone here would like a cash credit card? Sorry, you don't qualify unless you're an illegal in New York City. Texas says, I live in a small town in East Texas. We had lots of rain last week, and now our town has had a boil water notice for almost a week. We've had way more rain before and never had a boil water notice. Restaurants are having trouble. Can't go out to restaurants, right? They can't serve anything that they have to use water to make. No fountain drinks, no coffee, no gravy, no lettuce. It has to be washed, etc. We tried to go have breakfast last Friday morning, and it was very limited. Strange to me. Do you have water stockpiled at home? This is important. Drinkable, potable water that you have at home. Now, for cleaning and all that kind of purposes, you may have tap water that needs to be boiled, but you can use that for showering. You can use that for washing your clothes. You can use that for lots of different stuff. You can even use it to wash dishes as long as you let them dry. Okay, you can use non-potable water to wash dishes. I know some people are cringing right now, but it's true. If you let them dry, they can actually be washed with non-potable water. But then, in addition to that, you need to have potable water for drinking and for cooking, right? And everyone needs to have that in their homes. It's very important because when you suddenly need it, you may turn open that tap and not have it. And we need to be prepared for that day as well. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from the channel, there's one right up here. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group about what they can do for your retirement accounts, there's a link right there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.